Okay. Good afternoon. Now, when Madam Esther was speaking, she said we are age mates. And since the Chancellor has said that I'm one of the few gentlemen left, she actually means the political arena. But it seems we don't have a good reputation there. But since I'm one of the few gentlemen left, I will not tell you my age because it would be wrong to nose around about the age of a woman. So I will keep that to myself today. The Chancellor, Dr. Vijay Ratansi, Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Professor Amkoa Nangwe, Chairman of the University of Nairobi Council, Professor Stephen Kiama, the Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Margaret Jesang Hutchinson, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research, Innovation and Enterprise, Professor Julius Ogengo, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, His Excellency Arnaud Sucre, the French Ambassador to Kenya, High Excellency Madam Kampa, High Commissioner for India, Mr. Gitagama of the Nation Group, and his colleague or counterpart from the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, the Kantaria family, the two gentlemen who have been here, and the entire family. And it's indeed true that Madame there is known to the family from the Kotecha family in Western Kenya, and we've had a long relationship from my father down to me. And since it's a question of bringing in the new ones, I'll also make sure that the ones behind me get to know the family well. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Before I make my remarks, let me just at the very outset say that I am actually here on behalf of the President. He would have really liked to be here. He has been driving the issues around agriculture, innovation very passionately. But sometimes state matters have their own dynamics. So I bring you his best wishes, and I'm sure he'll be following up very closely on the progress that shall be made through this partnership. So here I go. We are gathered here for the groundbreaking of the landmark Agricultural Technology Innovation Center, ATTC. This initiative, that is a partnership between the University of Nairobi and Elgon Kenya Limited, marries the vast knowledge and expertise of academia with the financial strength of industry. This center is intended to be a leading agricultural innovation hub that will anchor sustainable agricultural development in our country. I therefore extend my heartfelt appreciation and that of the Government of Kenya to the University of Nairobi and Elgon Kenya Limited for this remarkable endeavor. In transforming our agricultural sector, the center will enrich the lives of Kenyans, and we do not say this in vain. The agricultural sector is the backbone of our economy, contributing approximately 33% of Kenya's gross domestic product. The sector also employs more than 40% of the total population and 70% of the rural population. Nonetheless, there is rising demand for agricultural products given by population growth. For instance, Kenya's population is estimated to hit 55 million this year. To meet the rising demands of this rapidly growing population, we must invest and annually increase agricultural production by a minimum of 2%. This is despite economic hardships, climate change, land scarcity, dwindling water resources, decreasing agrodiversity, and soil fertility, besides post-harvest losses. Institutions specialize in science, technology, and innovation, such as ATTC, that will allow more production for less, are our beacon of hope. Ladies and gentlemen, lest we are mistaken, we are not reinventing the wheel. The power of agricultural technologies and innovations has already been demonstrated across the world. During the 20th century, as somebody did say here earlier, I think the young man, the Green Revolution, also known as the Third Agricultural Revolution, saw current developed countries use technology, transfer initiatives to greatly increased crop yields and agricultural production. These changes in agriculture spread globally till the late 1980s, when the combination of high-yielding crop varieties, fertilizers, and pesticides, coupled with mechanization led to a threefold increase in grain yields against a 30% increase in cultivated land. In an agricultural economy such as ours, we should never apologize for innovating, especially when increases in agricultural productivity trigger outcomes that result in improved livelihoods. Examples in the deserts of Israel and other parts of the world are quite relevant in our adaptation of agricultural technologies and innovations. In any case, studies show that we can reduce the number of poor people by 1% for every 2% increase in crop productivity. Indeed, if agricultural development has 11 times more potential to reduce poverty than any other sector of our economy, why would we shy from innovations targeting the agricultural sector that means poverty reduction? Now that we will soon have our own Agricultural Innovation Center, accessible to any Kenyan seeking lessons in homegrown agricultural innovations in a wide range of issues, must make us proud. But pride is not enough. We must patronize ATTC's research expertise in soil fertility management, crop protection and improvement, seedling technology and horticulture, animal production and health, and preventing post-harvest losses. Allow me to turn to the relationship between the academy and industry. For far too long, the debate on the value of education, especially university education, to industry has reigned on in Kenya without practical interventions. Insufficient capacity to innovate, inadequate entrepreneurial skills, and poor work ethics have been cited as some of the missing links between the university and business development in Kenya. A pragmatic solution to this problem must lie in the collaboration between institutions of higher learning and industry. Such partnerships, while enhancing the innovative capacity of our university graduates through internship programs, also enable universities to deploy industry players to offer practical experiences, to enrich students learning as guests, visiting, or adjunct lecturers. Tailor-made courses designed and delivered with input from industry can contribute vastly to molding job creators and job-compliant graduates. What we are witnessing today, therefore, is a typical example of the collaboration between a market leader in agribusiness and a research-intensive university. At the heart of this partnership is the transfer of knowledge, skills, and competency packages to the students. I am also pleased to learn that the collaboration between the two entails the acquisition of hands-on skills by graduates of the university through a joint internship program designed to offer experience in real work settings across the country. I consequently join you in celebrating the successful completion of the inaugural program involving 20 students. Ladies and gentlemen, universities are designed to offer education and training and also conduct research to solve the problems afflicting society. Now, more than ever before, we must strengthen the contribution of universities in delivering their research products to end users. We must put behind us the culture of university research outputs with high potential to uplift the livelihoods of our communities ending up in repositories. I am aware that the principle of publish or perish, strongly enforced in universities, has contributed to this state of affairs. However, this standard could be a double-edged sword. It does simulate research, yes, but can also sacrifice the innovation potential in favor of numerous quick publications. The low level of patents emanating from university research explains the gravity of this matter. Collaboration with the industry is therefore necessary to usher in a new dawn founded on the principle of publish, patent, and prosper. My view is that the ATTC will enhance the commercialization of research outputs and accelerate the transfer of technologies to society. ATTC should be an open exhibition of technologies and a meeting point of innovators and their clients. In this manner, ATTC would be self-sustaining, contribute immensely to food security, promote agribusiness development, and enhance the realization of Kenya's Vision 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. Meanwhile, it will be amiss of me if I did not mention a pertinent issue affecting public universities. This is the issue of insolvency. Inasmuch as innovations such as ATTC will enhance the efforts in university financial sustainability, university managements have the responsibility to protect scarce resources by putting them to proper use. Recent reports about the financial resources of universities are not encouraging, and austerity measures are called for. I have recently issued strict policy measures to guard against graft and wastage in state corporations, and universities are no exception. The Inspectorate of State Corporations has clear instructions to discharge its mandate in holding state corporations management accountable for financial malfeasance. There will be frequent inspection of individual state corporations and universities to ensure conformity with statutes, regulations, and policies. In particular, boards or councils and the CEOs must respect the division of labor between them as a matter of course to enhance effectiveness and efficiency. But it is not all about punishment. We have invested in their capacity building under the State Corporations Advisory Committee. And I just want to emphasize that indeed the President, who is also an alumni, has this year in his budget enhanced the resources going to universities from 44 billion Kenya shillings on an annual basis to about 85 billion Kenya shillings. So this statement is underpinned by the increase in the budgetary allocations for all our institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to a transformative agricultural technology and innovation center, a facility that will revolutionize our agricultural system to finally make agriculture more appealing to the youth. The ATTC vision embodies a sustainable, commercial, competitive and vibrant agricultural landscape poised to reshape the dynamic future of farming in Kenya. I therefore consider it a privilege to be part of this groundbreaking process and urge other universities and research institutions to adopt this progressive model. Before I step off this podium, let me just flag out one or two things. One, I think the message of me being here, Wangombe being here, Kela being here, PS Crops, and Madam Warrior, and indeed others, is that we must break away from the notion that the private sector is the opposition of government. We have been targeting the wrong people in our political discourse. The private sector is not the opposition, and they should not be treated as opposition. We must develop solid partnerships. The second thing that I think can be a takeaway is that since we have not been able to meet the target of 2% of GDP on research, for research and development, maybe there's a little more we need to do in that space. Perhaps even in the partnership process, I'm not saying it's been done yet, but it's something we can develop. We could create an opportunity through Parliament for there to be a tax deductible benefit on resources that are directed towards research and development. This is a window that can be cultivated, and we can develop it together if we partner appropriately. Let me also just say that the emphasis around agriculture is so critical. We must stop conflict. Conflict that causes loss of life, that disrupts economic activity, that sometimes blows up into actual war situations, and the disruptions can be very devastating. We all know now the consequences of the interruptions and disruptions in the supply chain because of a war that is taking place away from us. It's causing havoc. We also know, and it's man-made. It's man-made. We also know that there's the other twin, which is now the climate change havoc. Again, it's man-made, primarily. We are seeing things that we have never seen before, and all this is a threat to food security. As I was walking through the stalls and listening to Mr. Kantaria, he actually confirmed that that fertilizer, the 50 kg bag, had actually dropped from 7,000 to 3,500. Now, I don't know whether you may have seen I think in one of the publications today, it's now beginning to manifest that in some parts of the country, because the government of Kenya made a deliberate effort to focus on the production. Now, if you go to Uasin Gishu and certain parts, the prices of food are beginning to come down. So this is real. It's for us to get it right and for us to pull in the right direction. I'm not very good in Kiswahili, but there's a gentleman who is in my office there. He's called Mongo. And I was being interviewed in Kiswahili, and I wanted to talk about fertilizer. Subsidies. So I started struggling. What do I say? And he told me that subsidy is called what? Ruzuku. Ruzuku. And then he said, I don't know whether the French ambassador knows that. And then he said, kuna ruzuku ya matumizi, consumption subsidies. Na kuna ruzuku ya nini? Ya uzalishaji, kuzalisha. Kuna ruzuku ya hiyo. That is production, isn't it? Ruzuku ya production na ruzuku ya matumizi. Now, the message the president has been talking about is that if we are going to address food security and we are going to address the prices of the cost of living, then our subsidy cannot be ruzuku ya matumizi. It has to be ruzuku ya nini? Uzalishaji. Anyway, kuzalisha. So I think this is the message I wanted to put here. And maybe the final thing I'll just go with, in order to emphasize the need for private sector to really work with the government. And Kantaria, when you're talking about the universities that were hesitating and getting mingled in protracted bureaucracy, I'm sure if they're watching this, they must be regretting. They must be regretting that you approached them, they had an opportunity, but because they were embroiled in their own bureaucracies, they lost an opportunity. That should speak volumes to us, that in order to walk this journey, we must also cut down on bureaucracy, be able to make decisions faster, and to onboard the private sector on matters of this nature even faster than we have done in the past. And there was an American ambassador here. She was called Aurelia Brazil. I think the senior members in the hall may remember her. And there was a debate about privatization. And I think at that time I was in the Treasury. And privatization was being seen as some kind of evil agenda being brought on the people of Kenya. And she once asked me, is it possible to tell your fellow Kenyans that when we talk of a partnership and we talk of privatization, can you imagine if we were to talk about the Kenya Airports Authority partnering with an American entity or a British entity or any other, even Middle East, so that you can have the injection and infusion of private sector efficiency and the management of the Kenya Airports Authority pooling together? Can you imagine what you can do in terms of getting the resources to modernize our airports and our aviation in that space by partnering? And she said, When people resist, whether we like it or not, the Kenya Airports Authority and its infrastructure still remains a structure, an investment that is embedded in Kenya. She concluded by saying, I can never uproot it and take it to Los Angeles. It will always be an asset in Kenya. So the message I'm trying to put across is this. The Kantaria input here at the University of Nairobi shall never be uprooted. It will remain an asset of the Nairobi University, and it will be here, and he's not walking away with it. So it's just as simple as that. Ladies and gentlemen, next time I come here, I'll be seeing the building and enjoying a round of golf. God bless you.